Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, diverting the focus from the place of struggle or fear to the place of fun is not the solution to live life fearlessly or to end the struggle. And you know that from your own experience, isn't it? No matter how much we create a distraction to avoid, to face the fear never ends, the conflict never ends. When you distract yourself with the fun, and when you can prolong the fun for a while, then you have a new fear of losing the fun. You have the idea in your head that if I lose the fun, then I have to go back to face the pre existing struggle or fear. So, not to face the past, we keep putting the effort to maintain the fun. But maintaining that fun itself is a tremendous effort. Yes, you can live your life by diverting the focus and keep continuing to put the effort on the fun places, but it's exhausting. You know that it's exhausting. You are already putting effort in diverting the focus and maintaining the focus on the fun. If you put the same focus on facing your fear, your your struggle, less effort can help you to overcome the fear. Then the remaining life can be effortless. The remaining life can unfold with the minimum effort and maximum result. It is possible. But to to have that future, we need to look in, we need to we need to look into our fear, our struggle. We need to face it. We need to examine why the fear is there in the first place. What's the reason the fear is resurfacing in my life? We need to figure out the root cause of the fear. Not just that, we need to uproot the root altogether. Only that work can make the person live fearlessly. Uprooting the fear makes the person understand the world and oneself. Uprooting the fear makes makes the person to see the truth of oneself. And that truth is the consciousness itself. And that is the key to life. Seeing the truth makes us rest in that. We're not anchoring in the past, not anchor in the future, not even anchor in the present narrative, present mental state. we anchor in the awareness or consciousness. We become that. Right now, you know that you are consciousness. Your true nature is consciousness. You also know that the nature of the consciousness is conscious. But knowing that doesn't dissolve the fear, isn't it? Knowing you are consciousness and you can remind yourself to be present and move in the world being aware, that can help you see the pattern world and how to interact in the pattern world. World is pattern. But the fear, the struggle is already present. The ingrained conditioning is already there. So even you know your consciousness, your conditioning is so ingrained in you, it drags you. It drags you to move from the ingrained belief. If you reflect in your life, you know that you will see your life is happening from the past conditioning. There's so much belief, so much preference we got, isn't it? Our life every day is unfolding from that belief. And every actions, every every effort we put out in the world is reinforcing that belief in us. So when we reinforce the belief is getting more stubborn and stubborn. That means our ego is getting more stubborn and stubborn. So when we associate it with the belief, we are forgetting who we are and we trusting the mind. All mind is ego. All mind is full of ideas or belief. And when we identify ourselves with that, we are forgetting who we are and we are becoming the ego self. And the ego self is full of fear. When the truth is missing, we are egotistical human beings. And when the ego is there, the, the reason to have the ego is because of the fear, untreated fear. So that's why the fear must be examined thoroughly. Not just that, we need to dismantle, uproot all the way until nothing is left. That's freedom, that's enlightenment. This fear is like an open wound. If you not treating this wound, the wound will stay open. And the open wound is always throbbing. No matter how much you divert your focus to, again, fun stuff in the world, the the throbbing, the pulse remains. And you know, you see the pulse of the fear. So life don't have to move in that order. We can change, we can live our life fearlessly. We can live life without the internal drama, the mental conflict, without that story in our heads. All the stories until we have is part of the experience, and plus our imagination. For sure, we add our own flavor in that story. Story, drama, instrumental story makes things going, right? But it also tortures you. It brings that physical stress, mental stress from our own narratives, from our own imagination. So if you realize or recognize that diverting the focus is not the solution, then you can start to do the work on examining the fear. Trace your fear backward. If you trace your fear backward, or if you trace the experience backward, you see the fear, and if you trace back the fear, you will able to end the fear. Nowadays in the world, there is a trend, this positive trend. People are encouraging people. For example, when you are angry, use that anger, the energy of the anger, in something positive. See, that is called diverting the focus. Yes, you can put your anger into something productive, and you can actually, you know, make you can understand your art that you're associated with. From that agitated state, focusing, you become calm. You become calmer. You forget you're angry when you get into the zone by diverting the focus. But that's a half cooked approach. Once you're done, the anger will keep resurfacing again and again in life, isn't it? It's a shortcut solution. Again, when you're angry, when you divert your focus and put your energy and the angry energy to something, remember it's exhausting. Sometimes people don't even put that anger, that energy of anger, into mindful work. Now that could little be better. You're being mindful to the things that you love. People, when there's a suggestion that if you're angry, you should break things. Let that anger release from the body. So there are people who open the shop to release the anger. Get the hammer and break things. Isn't that exhausting? Yes, you feel like you are, you know, sort of egotistically feeling alive, rejuvenate. But that just adds, that is the way to make your ego even more stubborn. You know, the ego loves to break things apart. So that's what's happening. People don't realize that. When you're angry, instead of breaking things apart to release your energy, or even diverting the focus to some mindful work, to the things that you love, what you need to do is Look into your anger. Investigate why the anger is there in your life. If you want to live, you know, freely, now we got to investigate. Anger, that anger itself is the byproduct of the fear. Byproduct of the fear. If you trace your anger back, you'll see your fear. Fear of a lot of stuff. So instead of diverting your energy, diverting your focus to something fun and distraction, you look at your situation, your issue, your experience, and trace it back. That's a direct solution to overcome the struggle. That's the direct solution to overcome the fear. That's the direct solution to overcome the anger. Diverting the focus is never the solution. It's diverting the focus is the running away from the reality, running away from our own mind. Mind that is full of fear. Basically, running away from the fear. Running away is never the solution. Fear, when the fear is there, we run away from the fear, or we control unnecessarily, resist unnecessarily, too much resistance happening. And all these three attitudes, running, resisting, or controlling, is coming from the place of fear. The fear is making us act in such a way. So what's the solution again? Is never run from your fear. Face your fear. Trace your fear back. Ask simple question. Why am I afraid? Why do I have this fear? That's it. Sit with it. Or if you're angry, why am I angry? Sit with this. Again, that will lead you towards to see the fear. That's why if you work on your fear, that's the direct path to true freedom. Freedom from the fear. Now, freedom from the fear, if you go all the way, if you really do the work, dismantle your fear all the way back until nothing is left. And when you ask yourself, who am I? And if you catch the truth, catch the plain sight truth, now that is spiritual enlightenment. That is spiritual freedom. That is the end of the spirituality. And that brings the easy living in the world. So, never run away from the fear. Face your fear and trace it back. Now, don't get confused with facing the fear with the physical, the worldly fear, okay? Facing the fear means tracing your fear backward to figure out why the fear is there in the first place, figuring out the root cause of the fear, which is the mental conditioning, and also uprooting the fear altogether. It's an inward journey. I'm not talking about the physical journey of overcoming the fear. I mentioned in the previous video that people, you know, have a fear of public speaking, fear of heights, fear of the crowd. There's a lot of, fear that people have in the physical world, outer world. No matter how much you overcome your physical world, there's a next level of fear waiting for you. So there's always next fear waiting for you in the world. And if you try to overcome that, you'll never overcome that. Okay? So if you want to overcome the outer fear, You have to tackle within. You have to figure out the inner fear, and you gotta figure out the root cause of the inner fear and uproot the root of the inner fear, and that's the end of living life with fear. That's the journey we're talking about here. Inward freedom is outward freedom. Outward freedom is never the freedom until you become free within. Okay? Hope this video makes sense to you. Hope this is helping. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.